Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Bible challenge. As you can see, I'm probably not dressed like you would expect me to be dressed. I was busy doing some yard work, helping a family out that needed some help this afternoon. So I didn't make it home in time, and so I just stopped along the road, and we've got old Cooper with us, and so I'm doing my 6 o'clock Bible challenge on the road today. And so we're looking at Ephesians chapter number 4. We're moving right along in the book of Ephesians, and we're over halfway through there now. And so today I want you to consider, when you think of maybe college football, there are all kinds of college football teams, and every one of those teams, they have a different coach. And obviously some coaches are very successful, and other coaches are not so successful. And I've heard a long time ago, everything rises and falls on leadership. It's whoever's in charge, how are they doing? What are they expecting and asking of those that are beneath them, that are following them? And what is the leadership willing to do? And so, I've heard of coaches that during the football season, they stay at their office and they sleep on the couch, and their family doesn't see them a whole lot. They're just pouring themselves into their team and the plays and trying to be ready. I don't know that all that is necessary, but I do know that when a new coach comes on board, if your team has a new head coach, things can change. And if your team has been struggling for a few years and not really putting out, not really excelling, and not reaching the level that you would expect from that team, when you get a new head coach, that can really change things. And so the Apostle Paul is talking to these Christians there in Ephesus. And remember, Ephesus was a big city that had a lot of false gods. And as these new believers were trusting in Jesus, they were getting rid of the false gods and the things that they had once believed and were following. They no longer were following all that stuff. They were trying their best to live for Jesus. Like if you got a new head coach, suddenly the way you used to do it, now we don't do things like that anymore. We got a new way of doing things, a better way. And so the Apostle Paul is encouraging these Christians to follow the new way, to follow Jesus. Listen to what he says in Ephesians 4, starting in verse 17. He says, "This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth, or from now on, walk not as other Gentiles walk." Don't walk like the unsaved, in the vanity of their minds, having the understanding darkened. See, the devil blinds people. He causes people not to understand. And so when you accept Jesus, the blinders come off and you suddenly see things in a much clearer, better way. That's what we're talking about. If you get a new head coach, he sometimes helps you. Oh, I get it. I see it. And you can excel then. And so he says, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God. If you're alienated, that means you're an enemy. You're at odds. And so before you knew Jesus, you were at odds as far as living a life for God, through the ignorance that is in them because of the blindness of their heart. See, it's not just your eyes that the devil can blind. He can blind your heart. And man, you're in trouble. If the devil has blinded your heart, you're in a bad, bad spot. But when you accept Jesus, God he says he can put a new heart in us. He gives us a new beginning. If any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. And so just like the new head coach would come in and say, "Oh, no, guys, that's the old way of doing things. We've got a new way of doing things." Jesus comes in and he says, "Oh, no, we're not going to live that way. We have a new way of living." And so verse 19, he says, "Who being past feeling have given themselves over unto the lasciviousness, unto sinfulness." They just gave themselves. When we're unsaved, we just do whatever, to work all uncleanness with greediness. So one of the devil's mottos is, if it feels good, do it. And so that he's got people blinded, and that's the way people are living. But then Paul says, "But ye have not so learned Christ. It's not the way it is with Jesus. He says, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that ye put off concerning the former lifestyle, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, that ye put on the new man, the new creature in Jesus. So, got to put on the new man in Jesus, and trust him, and everything is different. Our eyes are no longer blinded. Our hearts are no longer blinded. We see, and Jesus is our new head coach. Have a blessed evening.